Are we live?
Oh, hey, there we go.
We're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to PC World's Xbox One X PC build. We are doing a live build with the entire full nerd crew. So I've got Gordon right here. And for the first time for a build, we have Brad.
Hello, how's it going? Virtual
We're super
Brad
excited.
in the box.
And of course, we have our amazing video guys, Adam and Dan on hand.
Hello, everybody. Oh, I guess I should use the microphone. Here we go. Yeah, and if you have questions, comments, be sure to chat in. I will be your mouthpiece.
I'm sure people want to say things.
Yeah.
Is this microphone working this time?
It's working,
Oh, wow.
yes. No buzzing, no buzzing.
All right, so first of all, we're going to introduce you to the alcohol we have with us today.
Yes.
I have a hard cider, which I probably won't be drinking much of, though I'm sure everyone's going to egg me on. I think Gordon has the most hipster of hipster beers
I did
on
not
hand.
buy it. Adam bought it.
And I have
did
no
buy it.
idea what Adam's drinking today.
I have, what is this? This is a Half Moon Bay Brewing Pumpkin Harvest Ale.
Oh, pumpkin.
Yeah, for the
Very,
season.
thematic.
Very seasonal.
You know
He
what?
gets the good stuff. He gets himself the good stuff.
Yeah.
You know what's wrong with Pabst Blue
Gordon.
Ribbon?
Yeah, I
they
paid
sell
for
it at
it,
Whole
so.
Foods. You know something's wrong when they sell this beer. I prefer in 40s personally.
In a paper bag.
Well, Budweiser in a 40, you put it in the freezer, you get it just like almost to turn to ice. It's awesome. King of beers.
That sounds like Gordon.
And for everybody wondering, because everybody's complaining, oh, why do you drink beer when you build a computer? We're at work. We're getting paid to drink beer.
We're gonna
Build
do
a
it.
computer at work.
Right. So if you haven't tuned into one of our live builds before, this for us is just really casual. We get together, we have some booze, and we put together a system. This time, thematically, it's going to be Xbox One X PC. So let's get started. I'm gonna
Yeah,
grab
let's
the
do
keys
it.
First. I have a feeling we may have people in chat that are joining us who are more console fans than PC enthusiasts. So I'm expecting to field some questions today about why do we even try? What's the point? Can't beat an Xbox One X for the price. Well, if you read the written article that I did that priced out different builds, that is true.
It's a great article.
Currently, you cannot build a PC that is relatively similar in specs for $500. That doesn't mean it can't change in the future, but for the moment, the answer is no, you cannot. Why are we doing it? Because we like PCs and we like building stuff.
And why don't you tell the audience this case that you picked up and why?
So if you look at the build, it's actually not going to be exactly this one, because when I bought this one, it was on sale.
Oh.
And most of the build lists are pretty much composed of parts that were picked for their sale price. This one I got, I think, about $35. It's a micro ATX case. It's small, it's relatively compact, and
It's a thermal take?
it's a thermal take. I think it's the H15. It has a 5¼ inch bay slot on the front, which is where we're going to put the Blu-ray drive.
Nice.
If you're going full PC gamer, you don't need an optical drive, so you could get a different case. I actually wanted to get I don't know if you all can see it behind me. It's this Corsair. It's white. It's
a pretty
with red
one.
accents. It's really pretty.
Yeah.
The problem with it is that it doesn't have an optical bay, so
It's $35.
no, I think that one on sale was like 40, 45.
Ooh, $10.
Yeah, Brad picked that up. That's a pretty case for sure. Also, I'll say that we have a plenty of people in here that are console fans. That are either play both or they maybe left PC by the wayside and just seeing what it's like to get back into it.
So that's our case. I'm actually not going to build into the case because it makes it harder for y'all to see the build. So I'm going to just start with the motherboard outside.
Sweet, fun. Let me get. I realized I need to pop off my beer.
Oh, are we starting the booze already?
Yeah, we are.
I'll let you guys do that.
Let me get something.
I guess I should introduce you to some of the parts first. So the build is based around a Ryzen 3 1200 CPU. So we're going with Ryzen. And the original article I did, I picked an AMD FX 8300, which at the time was to kind of thematically play to the whole 8-core thing. But now that Ryzen's out, and there's a budget version of Ryzen, I didn't really see a point in building with an older chip. Although, for our benchmarks, I have put together an FX 8300 system, so I will grab benchmarks from that just so people who want to see the difference in performance can see.
And that is a quad core with SMT versus an 8-core FX part.
Right. But since we're building a PC, the whole 8-core thing doesn't really mean the same thing on PC, so I'm going with the actual performance and not necessarily what it sounds like on paper.
Now, how are you going to judge victory here? Because is this, so you got to look at the purpose of the machine whenever I configure anything or give people advice. What are you going to use the thing for? Is this like a 75% gaming box then? Or 100% gaming box, you really think? I don't believe there is such a thing as 100% personally.
I think it's going to depend on who's building it. I mean, if we're talking about console gamers or former console gamers who are thinking, well, I either want to go with Xbox One X or I could build a PC, then for them, most likely it's going to be anywhere from 90 to 100% gaming. If you're talking about someone who is a PC gamer who maybe wants to upgrade a really old rig, then it's going to be more mixed use.
All right.
You'll see maybe more of that 60s.
I'm slowing you down. Sorry to ask this question. Do you want me to do something where you talk? You can direct me.
It's okay. Last time you were the supervisor.
Yes.
You did all
we do
the
have a
work,
question
so.
from chat. I can't see their name right now because
Sure.
I'm not in front of the computer, but they're asking if we're going to give the PC away after we're done building it.
I would love to, but we haven't yet worked out with our legal team
Lawyers.
how we're doing the giveaway stuff. So unfortunately, the answer for now is no.
If you actually go to a dictionary, I'm not making this up, and you look up no, you'll find a picture of a lawyer. Because the answer is no.
All right.
Y'all are using my 582, so I would like that back at some time.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we put that into the system. So from the motherboard, I ended up picking an A320 board, which if you follow Ryzen, all the stuff with Ryzen and all that, you know that it's not overclockable, or I mean that you can't overclock the CPU. And I did that primarily for price. There were people who tweeted at me and said, hey, why don't you put the extra $15 or $20 towards B350 boards so you can overclock and get more performance out of it. And my answer to that is an excellent point, well made. However, I was going for cost with this build, so I was basically going as low as I could go without actually sacrificing too much.
Elena knows
Most
cheap.
people don't actually overclock either.
That's true, but there are definitely people who like to buy overclockable parts just so they know that they have the option. So cooler, I left the CPU in the box
Sweet.
because I'm good like that in the morning.
So the chat's saying we should have got a bunch of Colt 45s for everyone to drink. But
Yeah.
I would be literally under the table.
Keep that in mind for next time.
here's a good question from Antonio Viper. Anyone know if the X will have liquid cooling? Does anyone know?
I think it's air cooled, right? Sort of like heat pipe.
They have that vapor chamber.
Yeah, so
cooling that they were
heat
talking
pipe vapor
about.
chamber, basically
Yeah.
not liquid cooling as where you assume there's a pump, which is what we sort of see with CLCs, but
Right.
phase change, kind of like where it changes from a vapor or whatever, blah blah blah. No, I wouldn't
Right.
call it liquid cooling, but it'll probably use a heat pipe.
And we got a question straight for Brad from Todd. Did you switch your old gaming PC for Ryzen, or did you stay with the old one, with your old Intel?
Yeah, I wound up getting a Ryzen 1700 rig, so
Nice.
playing with that now.
For your personal gaming machine.
For my personal everything machine. The reason I went for that is because I plan on streaming and making videos in the future, so I figured the extra cores were worth it for me.
But for test bed, still is it still Haswell E 8-core?
Yeah, right now the GPU test bed is the 5960X 8-core, but we're going to be switching that out sometime soon in the next couple of months.
Nice.
Oh, wait, there's a triangle.
So right now, Elena is looking for the triangle to insert the Ryzen CPU into the motherboard. I don't know why they never make it a lot more obvious, but there's
Don't mess this
of
up.
course, this is the most dangerous part of any build. You screw up, you bend pins, it's not good. I will say, as much as people sort of crap on these older style CPUs that still have pins on them, I've brought back CPUs that have had serious pins bent in doing the mechanical pencil trick. The new LGA systems that are used in, Threadripper and, of course, Intel for a long time, it's really hard to come back from a couple of really badly bent pins in those. I actually do kind of like the pins on the CPU.
We got a good question from Diamond. He's asking, what cooling will this PC have? What kind of cooling?
It's going to have just a stock cooler. And so this is a point that I wanted to bring up while we were talking about this just a second ago. I definitely had some comments from people who are primarily, I guess, console fans that were saying, oh, like Xbox One X is so superior because it has that vapor chamber cooling. And to that, I would say that is not necessarily an equal equivalent to compare the types of cooling we have here. And one of the nice things about having a PC is that if you want to, you can always upgrade your cooling.
Upgrade.
So if you want to spend more money, you can definitely get liquid cooling.
And I will say, if there's one thing Microsoft knows what to do now, it's to definitely cool the Xbox. Red Ring of Death. I mean, that was like a 99%. I do not know one single person who owned an Xbox that actually used it. It was 360, right? The ones that all died.
Yeah, the original generation.
There's not a single Xbox 360 on this planet that is still running if they actually use it. As far as I know, because everybody I know that's ever used one, they've replaced at least one of them.
I have personally.
6. I went through
You went through 6?
2 red rings of death and 3 disk-free drive errors.
What?
I've been through.
So now I game on PC.
I've been through 2 disk scratch Xbox 360s and 5 red rings.
So
Wow.
yeah.
Like, were those all like the original generation, or did you actually get the second gen?
No,
one?
yeah, second gen.
Yeah, red ring on the second one.
Not the slim, not the like the redesigned body, but like I can't remember
Like
the
the
different
Elites.
process. Yeah.
Yeah, the black ones.
Yeah. So man.
So weird. My black
horrible.
Elite, like held up like a champ.
That is good. Another question from Sergeant Norder. Why didn't you use a smaller case to get the same form factor as the Xbox One X?
Again, primarily for cost. There are some really cute little mini ITX cases out there that are about the same size as the Xbox, well, maybe slightly larger, but roughly console sized. But those cost like $60 to $70. So again, because this build was primarily built around the question of what can you do for as close to the price as possible, that's why I chose to go with the bigger case.
right.
If you get a smaller case, you're probably gonna have to upgrade the cooling too.
Yep.
So
Right,
cascading effect.
right.
And while you put the cooler on, here's a good one for Gordon.
Yeah.
We're only putting.
Do I need
Wait.
screws?
Well, hold up.
No.
This is somebody in the chat named Adam Murray. Hold up. That's not me. I'm right here. So, man, maybe they're trolling me. Anyway, Adam Murray, not me, says
you
that
say.
we're going to put 8 gigs of DDR4 in here,
Right.
but the Xbox One X has 12 gigs of DDR5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please talk about this.
So, if you watch the live build prep video, there are a couple things that I didn't quite say right in it. And one is that I said that there are 8 gigs of RAM on the Xbox One X, which is not true. There are 12 gigs of shared GDDR5 RAM. And so the thing is about the Xbox One X is that it's a custom system. And so the CPU and the GPU are actually, I mean, for lack of a better term, to put it simply, is combined. It's an APU, so it's all one unit. It's very different than what we're building here. And because of that, the RAM, the memory, is shared between the two components. So you have 12 gigs overall, but I think it's only up to 9 that a game can use. So there's still some being reserved for the system, the operating system itself, to function. Otherwise, everything would just run incredibly slow. And I think what I read was that if a game doesn't use the full 9 gigs, the rest goes back to the system resources so that things load faster, you have a fairly smooth, seamless experience overall. If you ate too much into that additional 3 gigabytes, you really wouldn't have enough to run the variant of Windows 10 that's on the Xbox One X. So,
And if you want to use console math anyway, we're putting 8 gigs of RAM in, and the graphics card has 8 gigs of RAM, so this actually has 16 gigs of RAM. This
Whoa.
is better than the Xbox One X.
16 is more
Whoa.
than 12, Brad.
I mean, you could argue
Yeah.
that you only get 8 versus the 9 maximum for Xbox One X, but again, it's not pure apples to apples comparison here.
No.
All right, Gordon, you've done this more often than I have. Which way should I position this?
We're building an Apple?
Just kidding.
Oh, that's a different set
joke.
of fans. So just
So we're
simply
gonna.
screw,
So just
right?
so you want to point out, so we're using a stock cooler. It has the stock thermal interface material, or paste, right, as people like to call it. We're just gonna pick. Well, this is the top, right? No, wait. Where's the
Fan
top? So
connector.
we're gonna be in this case.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
the
inverted, right?
top. Because
So this will be a top. So you're gonna want to be able to read what? It doesn't really matter. The logos are. It's just sort of just. I would probably place it depending on where you're gonna plug this in.
Probably this way.
keep
It's,
accidentally switching
it's
to
that
my
little-
face. Sorry,
Does that the least
stream.
amount of play?
You gotta go vertical.
I do.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can only. Oh, so it is a rectangle, not a square.
Yeah.
All right, so that's too short.
Showwan W is saying he heard that
That's wrong.
it's 9 gigs for games and 3 gigs reserved for the system. I don't know how true that is, but
Sorry, one more time.
he's saying that it's 9 gigs for the games and 3 gigs for the system.
Yeah, that's what I said
Oh,
earlier.
okay, cool. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I was drinking this yummy beer. This I
Yeah,
gotta say
the
this.
one that you're not sharing with us.
Yeah, this pumpkin
Thanks,
harvest ale, really good.
That is one of the big differences between consoles and PC. Like, you can try to spec them out pretty similarly, but the underlying memory system is very different in consoles.
Well, California Kid says, "Why not match the specs? You clowns are bums."
Oh yeah, you know what? It's all about being exactly about the specs and matching it. That makes sense. Because that's the only thing that matters. Like higher frame rates would be better on a certain platform, right? If that's all
Yeah.
that matters.
But once you get past 23, you can't tell the difference anyway, right? That's the 24 cinematic.
What?
Which is true. Just kidding. No.
What's up?
Oh no, I was just listening to Brad trying to lay down a sick burn.
Oh, you know, I'm gonna do the final torque on this.
Oh, are you going to? Okay.
No, but go ahead and plug it in.
Okay.
Plug in the fan. Rookie move, always plug in your CPU fan. It's the rookie move everybody makes is they forget to plug that in. Or you plug it into the wrong one. You
Yep.
plug it into the wrong one, the motherboard will sometimes halt and say, there's no fan plugged in. So,
Rookie move I pulled just this year is forgetting to take the protective covering off the cooler.
oh yeah, that's the
thermal
best.
paste. So the PC did not like that.
So this is, it's nice. There's no torque wrench. This is not the Threadripper. There we go. I'm
Yeah,
just
it's not
gonna,
it's not a
nice and
three-person
snug.
job.
This is a small board.
It is. It's a micro
It's
ATX
tiny.
form
Look at
factor.
that.
So another reason why I went with a Ryzen build for our live build and our
Oh,
primary benchmarking
and
is because with Ryzen, the motherboards are newer, and therefore you have built-in M.2 support. So again, nice thing about PC, if you wanted to upgrade down the road to booting off with SSD, you can. And it's going to be nice and fast. You can get a nice NVMe drive off.
So I'm actually going to reverse this out because this board is so damn tiny. The little AMD logo overhangs the DIMM slot, one of the DIMM slots.
Oh, you're right.
Are you running 1 or 2 DIMMs? 2,
I'm
right?
running 2, actually.
Okay, so we are gonna reverse this. Some people get freaked out about like, oh my God, the thermal paste, whatever. It's fine.
Oh
it's
wait,
fine.
I do have a mini ITX board with only 2 DIMMs.
Yeah, this is. No, this is micro ATX. Well,
Is
what
it?
the hell is this thing?
It's tiny. I think this might be a mini ITX.
This is not a DTX, is it?
No. I've been getting a little mixed up with all my parts because I'm building the 2 simultaneously, so I'm pretty sure, I know my FX 8300 is a micro ATX. That has 4 slots. I think this is a mini ITX because it only has the 2.
All right, let me do this.
Do you want to read my face?
No, it's fine. People, it's fine. We're not overclocking.
Can you reiterate why you bought this board? Kyle Fontour wants to know.
The type of board? Or the
Why
form factor?
small? Yeah.
Why small?
Yeah.
Because it was
You can look
cheap.
Yeah.
I'm serious. It wasn't necessarily that I was like, oh, I'm going to set out to build this smallest box possible. Because again, the question that I wanted to answer with this build was, what can you build for $500 that in an attempt to replicate the Xbox One X? And when I was pricing out the build, the cheapest ones were the tiny boards, which worked out well in terms of size, so people didn't accuse me of building just this gigantic, ugly PC. But it wasn't like I specifically set out to find the smallest board possible. All right.
So in Leslie Lai is saying that the Xbox One X uses a customized Polaris based 580 plus with 40 compute units instead of the desktop-based 580 with 36 compute units.
That is correct. And
So-
Brad can give you the full rundown because
Yeah.
he is our GPU
Brad,
guy.
does that matter? Brad, tell us if that matters.
Yes, that's true. That means it'll be slightly faster. Oh, than a stock, 580. Except for example, this card that we're using is a custom card with a factory overclock.
It's a
which-
gigantic card.
It's bigger than the motherboard.
It is. It's longer.
Oh my goodness.
Is it going to fit in the case?
I think so, but I do have a backup case on hand just to finish the build. Because the thing is that when you're actually pricing this out and when you're building it, and if you actually look at the build list I have, the 580 I have in our build list is not nearly so behemoth. However, availability and the funds available for this build were low, so I had to go with what we had on hand, which was actually what Brad had on hand and sent to us.
Taj is wondering, was there no room in the budget for a small SSD?
Not for $500, no. That would have pushed us up to, I think this build came out to $693-ish.
Oh.
That would have pushed
With
this
OS? 693 with OS?
up. Yes.
And with controller?
No. That's another controversy.
I got to say, though, that $700 with OS for 580 class gaming, so that's 1080p gaming at, high. That's pretty damn good for PC gaming. You want to put the RAM in?
Yeah, but we
Yeah.
want a 4K machine.
Sure. So I chose 8 gigabytes of RAM, mostly just to ensure that there would be smooth system performance. It's not actually trying to match anything or show up anything. This is DDR4, just for compatibility reasons. I picked, I think, 2800 megahertz for speed, not again for any particular reason, but just, it happened to be the cheapest one at the time.
And none of them are cheap right now.
And none of them
Yeah,
are cheap
that was
right now
cheap.
because of RAM prices. Ryzen likes faster speed, so I thought it was nice that I actually got a little bump in speed over what I was originally looking at, because I thought I'd get 2133 or 2400 in terms of trying to find the cheapest, but it wasn't the cheapest, which is kind of weird actually, but
Time for case? Prep the case?
prep the
Power
case.
supply?
We got another good question.
I got your favorite kind of power supply.
Bugzula.
Cannot wait to see you slip that gigantic graphics card.
We will see how well this works out. I didn't expect it was going to be that gigantic.
Yeah, that is a big video card. So I gotta say, like 36 CUs versus 40, but higher clock. I mean, of course, Xbox does. I mean, it is a custom OS, right? And their games are closer to the metal, supposedly. Or they actually all just DirectX 12 these days. I'm no console head, so I have no idea. The performance actually could be more of a wash, if anything, right?
Adam Murray, but not me. I'm Adam
Yes.
Patrick Murray, is asking, can you confirm the hard drive speed for the X versus what's in your PC build?
Right, okay, so in the live build, I had this huge brain fart, and I said it was 5400 because I was thinking of the original Xbox One. The Xbox One X apparently was confirmed at 7,200, which is what I actually ended up picking for the build in the part list originally, because at the time they just said it was 50% faster, and I said, I don't really know what that means, y'all. I'm just gonna kind of strike a middle balance here and pick what's actually commonly available to PC DIY builders and just grab a 7,200 RPM drive, which turns out that's what actually is in the Xbox One X. Which I think is a little weird to say. That's a 50% increase in bandwidth.
This is a family show, so I'm not going to use the correct word, technically
Maybe
correct
they're-
word, but that is a bunch of baloney. There ain't no way, if anybody's ever used a 5400 RPM hard drive, and then they use a 7200, they don't go like, oh my God, my life has changed.
It's so much faster.
I want my life to end whenever I use a 5400 RPM drive, though.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
look, most laptops, I mean, of course not today, but like they were all very low RPM drives, right? So,
Taj points out that Gordon was so careful with the Threadripper build, but now he's just slapping things in.
well, that's because everybody's like, oh, you're going too slow.
Nobody has mentioned anything about a slow build yet, so
Oh, okay.
That's
well,
good.
we'll slow it down then.
let's
'cause
slow this.
the longer we can hang out here and drink and actually collect money for it is better.
Yeah, how's your PBR?
Yeah, it's not that
All
bad.
right, now to crack the case, I'm going to put in the motherboard stand screws.
Oh, wow, they're not mounted. I hate that.
No, it's a cheap case, man. You got to do everything yourself.
So what Elena is doing is putting in the motherboard mounts. So there's holes for a rookie who's never done this before, and actually we want to make sure the PC crowd is open to everybody. If you've never done it, there's holes in the motherboard. You put the mounts in, you screw the motherboard down, but of course you got to make sure they all match what's in the motherboard. It would help if I actually held it the right way.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, 1, 2. Holy, what are these extra ones for? What in the world is that? 1, 2,
3,
oh, 3. What the heck? These are weird.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I can nose unscrew some. That's kind of the fun of it, though. Just kind of seeing how each build is kind of unique in its own way.
Also, side note, Jeffrey in the chat is saying, you did an unboxing for a Dell All-in-One,
did.
and
Oh, yes.
yeah, the review hasn't been posted in a couple
It
months.
hasn't. Okay, so how do I say this? I don't want to throw Dell under a bus. My review unit had issues, and it took a long time to work them out. And by the time I got the second one, I was just slammed with other things. It is still at my desk. I am still trying to finish it because I think it's a really cool system, and I want to finish that review. So I haven't forgotten about it. It just kind of got caught up in the review oddities that sometimes crop up.
Also, another good question from Diamond. He says, "Are we ever going to do laptop builds?"
Laptop builds,
Yeah.
like from scratch?
Yeah, could you even do that?
I don't know. We haven't planned that far out. We could be ambitious someday and try to do something,
I don't.
but I don't think so.
I mean, I think you might be able to, but I don't think you'd ever want to. You wouldn't be able to get the pricing discounts that, laptop manufacturers get and stuff. I don't think it'd be cost performance effective.
Sorry, I left the door open. And I'm going to say something. You can't hear me. Disembodied voice. At one time, Intel was actually pushing DIY laptops. They were trying to standardize components, power supplies, so you could actually build your own laptops. I actually have done a couple of those 6-7 years ago. They were, laptop 5, 6, 7 years ago, they were big, ugly pieces of plastic. But you could, you would buy a white box, it would have a motherboard, you drop in a CPU, RAM, storage, and you'd be good to go. Really wasn't that much building. They kind of gave up, and from what I understand, it's mostly because, vendors would sell these white box kits, ASUS was one of them. Somebody would screw up installing the CPU, they return it to the store, and then now they're stuck with a very expensive laptop that they can't do anything with. So it was kind of a problem for the people who were trying to sell the systems themselves. So that's over. Intel even tried to do build your own all-in-one, which didn't go over that well either.
Really?
So yeah.
Huh.
It was kind of cool, but I mean, they were just, the internal connectors use those really, really super fine ribbon cables, and wait, let me do one thing. I'm just gonna torque these down. This is.
Oh, you actually want to torque it
Good
down?
job remembering the I/O shield, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was going to mention that. So there are definitely, even if you build systems many times, there are definitely a few places where you can forget to do something, and you do all the rest of the steps, and then you go, crap, I forgot that.
But
And putting in the I/O shield is definitely one of those things.
we had somebody mention that we're not wearing our protective wrist
Yeah.
straps.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's why?
Why? Well, for me, in my experience, these days the electronics and the components are not as sensitive as they might have once been. And as long as you're careful and not, purposely rubbing your hands over carpet to create static electricity, you're usually pretty good.
It's a bigger deal if you're on a carpet too, and you're not, right?
No.
Yeah, and also high humidity day, but if you're building one or two computers, it's not going to really matter. Yeah, if you're working, again, I think we said this last time, if you're working in a factory, yeah, you want to take ESD protocols. You're doing it here in your garage, it's not a problem. And earlier what I was doing, I just want to mention, we torqued down the motherboard mounts. That is a very, very important step to do. Make sure you get those things in there tight, because you're going to screw down into the case from the motherboard, and then when you back it out, it'll back the actual mount out, and then you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, if that
And this-
happens, you have to do crazy things with pliers and
Yeah.
rubber bands so that you can grip one thing and not the other. All right, let's figure out which screw goes into the mount.
I actually like fairly simple builds like this because they go together awfully quick. When you start messing with, CPU coolers and add in sound cards and stuff, it can add a lot of time, but these ones tend to go pretty quick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that stock cooling is awesome for that, because I got to say, aftermarket air coolers, aftermarket CLCs, there's like another 15 steps for those things.
Especially if you get one without the fans pre-attached.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of questions in the chat that I think, Brad, you can help us out with, and I personally have no experience with this either, but how is the screen capture on AMD cards? Because the GeForce Experience screen capture is actually pretty damn good, the Shadowplay stuff. How's it like on the AMD side?
AMD's Relive, their new Relive software, is awesome. It's basically just as good as Shadowplay at this point.
Wow.
They used to have Raptors technology, AMD Gaming Involved it was called, and it was pretty garbage. But they kicked Raptor to the curb, who now makes Plays TV, which is also pretty good. But AMD Relive works great.
Nice.
So, Brad, I have a question for you. Have you used the capturing option for Xbox One at all? Or I guess...
I do not have an Xbox One, so no.
Okay. Well, I guess the rough equivalent would be Windows 10's native capturing. How does
Yes,
that...
I've used that a bunch.
Yeah, how does that compare to Relive?
Mixer, it's called. It used to be called Beam, and it came in the Windows 10 Creators Update, I believe it was, the one this spring.
Oh.
It's really great
I don't
if
think
you're
the
not
screwdriver's really good for this.
advanced into streaming, because it's a real nice, simple interface that lets you get up and going quickly. I assume they probably took some lessons there from the console, but it doesn't have a lot of the in-depth detail and options that you would get from something like OBS. So it's good for getting up quickly, letting you start doing it, but not good for advanced users.
Okay.
Those are for optical drive. You want
Yeah.
these fat suckers.
The fat ones?
The machine screws, yeah. These
Okay.
larger.
No, can't back it out.
Yeah, you can just.
Brad, how much overhead does that the AMD screen capture put on your GPU? Do you know?
Virtually none.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
Both AMD Relive and Shadowplay for GeForce cards, minimal hit. I mean, if you get a 5% performance hit, I'd be surprised. It's usually less than that.
Awesome. Okay.
So, good times.
So you want the course.
Diamond wants to know if you have a PS4, Brad.
I do not. I don't have any consoles right now except for Mini NES
That'll work, yeah.
and a jailbroken Wii.
Nice.
What do you do on it?
So-
The jailbroken.
So,
Wii?
so which of us are you're a console gamer? You have a Wii and you have a what?
So that makes him a console gamer.
Mini NES, the
I
retro
think this is
thing.
right.
NES
Okay.
Mini.
It doesn't feel like it's threading properly.
It should be the core screws.
I'm glad Gordon got distracted on that one. He was going to go on a console rant.
No, this is good. Right here.
The jailbroken Wii is pretty sweet because it's pretty awesome. It has a lot of.
Don't tell me they really do
capabilities.
use this little.
Good one, Brad.
I hate that.
Gordon and I are having a mild debate because I didn't consult the manual like I normally do, and now we're trying to figure out which screw we want to use.
Wow, they really do. I think they really do use those damn things.
Yeah, they do little baby ones. I was right. Ha!
Those are the ones you use in the optical drive.
I was right. It's just that I think the bit you have in your screwdriver is not the right size. That's why it's not screwing in easy.
Oh no, you just have to. And Elena, what kind of console do you have at home?
Well, I have
No,
multiple.
no.
So I have
Here it comes.
original SNES, NES Classic, a Wii, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360 Elite version, Xbox 360 Slim version, Xbox One original version. I have an Xbox One S floating around, and I have an Xbox One X on the way.
Yeah, take that, Gordon.
What do you have at home there, Adam?
Oh, God. Are we doing this?
Yeah, we are.
I just want to see what kind of console
Oh, I forgot
gamers
my
you guys
three- I
are.
forgot my three
Because
cards.
clearly there's a lot
yeah.
of console gamers that are watching this.
I have a Game Boy Color, a Nintendo DS, a Nintendo 3DS, a PlayStation Vita, a Xbox 360. I recently sold my Xbox One, a PS4 Pro, a Retron 5, our Retro Pi
Oh, I have those now
build.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one of those ish.
Ish. It's easily converted.
A Super Nintendo and a Genesis.
Don't forget your Switch, dude.
Oh, and my Switch, yeah. Yeah, I should bring my Switch in here and just play some Mario while you guys build this.
Wow, that's cool. And Dan, what kind of console do you have at home?
That's cool.
PS3. Does that count?
Yes.
And I brought my N64 into the office.
Yeah, he does have an N64 here. Oh, yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Wait, I'm going to
You
switch.
guys have some great consoles.
Oh, yeah. Gordon, what consoles do you have?
I have none.
No, your
That's not
kids
true.
have
You have
some.
You're not
Shield.
allowed.
You have a shield.
Oh yeah. Only in Jensen's dreams does the NVIDIA Shield count as a gaming console. So it is not a gaming console. It's an
portable.
awesome Kodi box. It's like the Cadillac of Kodi boxes.
No, I'm talking about the original handheld, like.
Oh, that's not a game console.
It is a portable.
That's like calling Android gaming. Since Android gaming is not gaming, it cannot be, therefore, a game console.
How about the Razer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way,
I
yeah.
also have a Steam Link.
Oh, me too. I have one of those.
I
Yeah.
do. Actually, I have Steam Link
You have two.
at work. I bought them as gifts. So no, I don't have any game consoles at home.
All right. Let's see. What do I want to do next? Do I want to power? And I think I want to put the video card in next. All right. In goes the behemoth.
All right, let's see. Let's drum roll. Will it fit?
Oh,
You may want to do that SATA drive there, though,
This is so
Or-
cheap.
because it's going to block that.
And
those-
any blood from the
it's gonna be
case
hard to
yet?
get
Yeah.
to that. You can at least plug the cable in, I guess.
Yeah. Which.
So you guys,
Man, consoles, how
all have
awesome.
consoles. Do
Yeah.
you prefer game consoles over PC
Is that a
gaming?
trick question, Gordon?
Actually, in some ways, I would say yes. Because my Switch, man, I play that all the time. Here at work, on the train, at home, sitting on my couch, plug it into my monitor at my computer.
You
I play it
the Nintendo
everywhere.
Switch so much. You play it while you play PC gaming.
Sometimes, yeah. If I'm waiting for a game to install.
So listen, I'm gonna admit it. I'm not a PC gaming fan, or I'm not a console gaming fan.
That is
I don't.
that is
I'm not
also
a
true.
fan. I'm not a
That is
fan of
also
console
true.
gaming. What is the attraction?
Don't forget the motherboard headers.
I
Says
gotta say, Gordon, it's
I probably
really
should
nice
do that now,
sitting on
too.
the couch
Thanks.
After working,
What?
It's real nice sitting on the couch with a controller in hand after working all day, rather than staying on the keyboard and mouse.
Yep.
So I can get that appeal, but that's the reason I got a Steam Link, so I can bring my PC games onto the couch with me.
Do you prefer the Steam controller, or do you use a Xbox?
It depends on the game. I got them both. I prefer the Steam controller for...
Don't read the manual.
I like reading the manual.
Playing Civilization.
Use the Force.
Whatever. If the Force was going to speak to me, it would have done so a long time ago.
Also, what do you guys think about VR? And do you think the Xbox One X will eventually get a VR headset? This is coming from Kyle.
You know, they were so quiet about it this year, because after, I think it was 2015 where they talked about it, and then it was like, whoop, like not a word.
Zipped
I don't
up.
think so.
That if it's coming, it's not going to be for a while.
I think they looked at the numbers on PSVR and how that thing is like, it's the equivalent of a Nintendo light gun in the amount of use it gets. So I think they just said, why waste money on this? This generation, I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it makes sense at all.
Look at their own
I
game.
think it's eventually going to happen with the Windows VR headsets. I think that once they get it straightened out on Windows, that just came out, last month, it'll eventually be moved over to Xbox One since it also uses the Windows 10 core.
I had a friend that said, look, I need to get my son, he really wants VR, and the cheap route is to get PSVR, right? We just do a PS4, we do VR, and I said, and he goes, should I get that or Oculus Revive? And I said, I honestly think you're already PC gamers. I really think PSVR is just it's not up to snuff, right? This is still, you're in a bleeding edge of technology. If you're going to sink any money into it, you might as well sink money into something you're going to play, which is a Vive, right? Maybe or Oculus.
PSVR sold a bunch, but that hardware is just too underpowered to real VR, in my opinion, man. You get sick of that stuff.
You know what I really hope, though, is that Sony has looked forward and they said, yeah, we know this is underpowered hardware for VR, but next generation, we're going to come out with our next generation, super duper PS5. It'll have the power to drive this headset. I'm going to hope they're not going to pull a Sony and say, oh, you need to buy the new VR headset for the PS5, right? I mean, wouldn't that be the ultimate screwing?
I'm surprised you didn't just say Google Cardboard.
Because we all know how much you love Android VR stuff.
It's the cheapest.
I don't get it.
It's fun, it's cool. If you don't have a Vive or a Oculus Rift, then using Google Cardboard is pretty badass. I use that to wow people like at my kid's barn and stuff.
It's like, so it's the equivalent of a card trick. You're like, what card you pick? Okay, that's the end of my trick.
There's a lot
I
of
have a Vive, so everything else seems pretty inferior to me anyway, so...
What console do you run that on, Brett?
my retro mini NES.
Oh, I see.
there's a lot of there's not a lot of love for VR in the chat, but there is a lot of love for consoles. A lot of people think they can coexist.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I do think VR is very much bleeding edge. It's not for everyone, right? You're an early adopter at this point, but if you're going to do it in a system that is not going to collect dust, right, and be worthless. I think Vive still has a lot of legs,
I think that's actually maybe part of the real reason why we have the PS4 Pro and this Xbox One X that's coming out. The 4K obviously is a big deal, but I wouldn't be surprised if they're getting set up solely to run VR headsets if that fad takes off. I mean, obviously the PlayStation is, because PSVR is already out.
Yeah.
Kyle's asking.
Oculus Rift is only $400 these days, and that blows the pants off of PSVR.
Yeah. And that runs on which game console, Brad?
It can run on $7,500 PCs these days.
Oh, wow. So we could use that with this machine then, probably, with a 580.
Definitely.
Just to get back to the topic a little bit, Elena, what's going on here? Tell us what you're working on.
Oh, I was just, as Gordon pointed out, because they're going to be putting this mammoth, freaking gigantic video card in next. There we are. So let's see how large this is relative to the rest of the system. Because of that, it's likely going to block these connectors right here. Mm-hmm. So we're doing this first before inserting the video card. So these are the the pins for the front of the case so that you can use your power switch and the LEDs light up and everything over here. And then this is the connection to the storage, this SATA connector. I never pronounced that right. I am that person that only ever learns words through reading them, and then I utter them and everyone looks at me like, what?
It's like data and data.
Is it SCSI? What is it?
SCSI.
It is SCSI.
SCSI?
It's also GIF.
I've never heard SCSI.
GIF. GIF.
SCSI.
Ooh, you just started the worst argument on the internet. with that one. I agree with you. I say GIF as well, but
We've had a couple questions earlier. After this is built, what are you going to do with it, and what games are you going to test?
so what I'm going to do with it is benchmark it, and I'm going to do a handful of CPU benchmarks just so that I can compare it to the FX 8300 build that I'm doing. But for games, I'm going to try to do games that also will run on the Xbox One X. Obviously, we can't benchmark the Xbox One X, but we can at least get the numbers on the PC side and then do the, well, based on how we're looking at it, this is roughly what the difference is. So for that, I'm thinking Rise of the Tomb Raider, Forza 7, and Gears of War 4.
Okay.
And
Shadow of War is also
yeah.
has a benchmark.
Oh, nice.
Okay, yeah.
Sounds good.
If I can get code for that, then I'll try throw that one in too. Maybe also, does Assassin's Creed have a built-in benchmark? I don't think it does, right?
It does on PC.
Oh, it does.
But
So maybe that. It depends on what codes I can get my hands on, and what people own in the office and are willing to let me run on the system.
Corey's asking, is Wi-Fi on board, or are you going to use a USB stick?
Haha, good question. So when you get a dirt cheap motherboard, it doesn't include Wi-Fi.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that is what is that? 10 points to Xbox One X, which does include Wi-Fi. So if you want Wi-Fi on the system, you're gonna have to get either an adapter, external adapter, or an internal card.
But word of advice: don't do Wi-Fi gaming. That just sucks. Just run a 300-foot, Cat 6 cable. Just don't. Wi-Fi is the worst thing. Like, I swear to God, if you went and looked what was wrong with PC gaming, Wi-Fi would really be the number one blame. People trying to play games over Wi-Fi.
So just string it throughout your house.
Holy.
Get a little wider, Dan. There we go.
I don't think it's gonna fit.
No?
Yeah, I think there's this thing right here that won't let it. It's not gonna let it seat.
Oh, no.
I checked it yesterday. I thought it was gonna work.
Oh, no.
Do we want to just grab that 480 card, reference card?
Can you
Just
pull
to
out
see if
any
it'll
base?
post.
What?
No, it's got this weird lip to
It
it.
has this thing right here. I think this is for SSDs, mounting SSDs.
You can't pull it out?
I don't think so. I think it's welded in. It looks like. I don't know. Maybe I can take it out. Oh, but I can't, because then I can't
It's
actually.
probably riveted in place.
I might. Yeah, no, it is. It's actually it's all.
Oh, no.
Well, there's always a Dremel. Well, I don't have it here. We bring the Dremel in. Just cut that.
Just for people who may be in the chat saying automatic fail, when you actually have control over what parts you buy, you can actually account for this. I'm using a mixture of purchased parts and stuff in the office, which doesn't always work out as well as you would hope.
Can we just put this in there? We can get it to post. You grab I can go grab the reference 480.
Why don't you
or we
grab the
can-
reference 480 just so we can finish this build? But for the actual benchmarks, I'm going to move this into a system or a case that will accommodate this behemoth.
Or we'll get out the welding
Good thing I
tools.
sent that over, huh?
We'll get out their welding tools and, make a little
Man, if I
Canyon.
if I ever won the lottery, one of the things I would do is learn how to mod cases. And do that really slick liquid cooling with all the lights and the different colors of liquid. But I haven't won the lottery yet, so that dream is still far off in the distance.
What color would you go?
I mean, it depends on the theme, I think.
Real quick, Bugzula says he's used this case before and it should fit.
This card is massive. Like, the Asus Strix cooler is ridiculously large.
Yeah.
He says
I mean-
unscrew the bay and just put the hard drive on the ground for now.
It's not. Is he thinking that this is getting in the way? It's not this. It's the lip right here that's gonna not allow the card to seat. I don't think, at least.
I want to come see it.
All right, I'm getting a second opinion.
Oh yeah, no,
See what I mean?
that's yeah.
Because
no.
this already hits that lip, and I haven't even gotten a chance to even begin to
Yeah.
seat
It's
that.
not gonna work.
You'd have to.
Not gonna work.
I'm
Somebody
not
that
even
said
sure this
dribble.
reference card's gonna fit.
We're gonna have to put in the
Man.
1050.
Well, I upgraded my card at
This'll
home,
fit.
and I had to buy a new case for that.
Oh man! So I gotta say though, this
will
is
fit.
actually a good lesson.
Yeah.
But this is a good lesson though, because the one thing is people they love these little small cases. A big case you never worry about like, oh, is anything gonna get in the way?
Okay.
These small cases, this is a very common problem.
So instead of it being blown up in the case, it's will your case fit under your desk?
Yes, but
That's the problem.
but you don't worry about like, is it gonna fit with this component? But you do like any mini iText build. Sometimes you screw yourself and like, oh.
You
this
gotta
thing's
measure
not gonna fit.
everything carefully. You gotta check the
Look
measurements.
at this! Look at this thing. It's so cheap. Look at this. I can't believe this.
Yeah, you got to pop it out. Hey, wait. I gotta figure out which ones it is.
All right.
Once you pop it out, it ain't going back in.
Well,
So-
you can screw it back.
And just to reiterate, for the end of this build, we're just going to make sure it posts. We're not actually going to install anything, or
Yeah, we're not
that,
gonna
all the
make you wait
testing's
through
going to
all
happen
that.
after that.
Windows 10 is gonna take too long.
And then we're going to have a follow-up video after all the testing's done to kind of go over how the build went. So
How much, in practical impact, how much faster is a 580 over a 480, that overclock card? 10% maybe?
Yeah, it's not much. The overclock will make a big difference compared to that reference cooler,
Yeah,
but 480 to 580 is maybe 10%.
right, because it's the same thing.
So if that's the case,
Yeah.
Brad, I mean, seriously, like, why the difference in size? It's a little ridiculous.
it's huge.
I mean, like, look at this.
Well, that little reference cooler is crap and loud.
That's true.
Always
That
are.
is true. It is.
That big, huge Asus Strix cooler is typically found in higher-end cards. You'll typically find it like the GTX 1080, the Vega card. Not the Vega, they don't have custom cards. But maybe theoretically one day Vega. The RX 580, to get it to go faster, they really cranked the hell out of it. So it runs hot, so I'm guessing that's why they chose to put that big old cooler on a 580. It still seems wildly out of place to me.
Robert Dyson says they should make a PCI riser card. There you go. Just rise it up.
Well,
on
they,
the
have,
board a
they
little
do
bit.
have, oh, that would be interesting. I've never seen just a straight riser card, but I have definitely all the awesome flexible PCIe cables these days.
Well, could you stack the risers for the motherboard and just like
This is
put two,
neat.
screw
No,
one into
because
the other?
the I/O
It's a
is lined
slide
up
switch as opposed
on the
to
back of the case.
Oh,
yeah.
I like that.
I guess they really never expected someone to put a card that big in a case this small.
I mean, it does neatly fit this reference cooler length, which
Yeah,
is like
the reference is nice.
10 inches, 9 inches. This one is like probably like 12 or 13.
So D, I can confirm that it's not just an SSD bay. It's actually the whole case. It's machined out like that. There's nothing to take out. It's
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
big piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would
can- you
basically
can
have to
take off-
Dremel out that drive bay area to get
Yeah.
a larger card.
I think you might be able to take out the cage here, but that's it.
Yeah.
All right, what am I looking for? I'm looking for
Heart of the Cards channel, weird name, says a 480 graphics card is too weak compared to the Xbox One X.
It is. We're only using this for posting. And it's not that much.
Well, wait, let me understand this, because I don't really follow the whole console wars thing, because I'm a PC gamer. But
Uh-oh.
when
Oh, here we go.
PlayStation 4
Here we
was
go.
faster than Xbox, did frame rates matter? I don't understand. Like,
It
that-
did to the fanboys.
did it so frame rates, if I understand it right, a lot of people, because not that Elena was one of those people that said it didn't matter that much, but some console Xbox fans said, like, it doesn't matter. Xbox versus PlayStation 4, it's not about the frame rates. It's not about the resolution. It's not about the frame rates. So now that Xbox One is faster,
Shit.
are you being consistent? I just want to make sure that people are being consistent there, because people need to To say, like, if they said it didn't matter when Xbox was slower than PlayStation 4, it shouldn't matter now, right? Do I get that straight? Yeah. Am I getting that right? I'm like that old person in front of the liquor store you go in.
Yeah.
Are you the one that's already started on that day's 40?
Just sitting outside the liquor store, kind of like,
I'm not sure if that's the right.
One of the things I find interesting about the PlayStation 4 and I think the Xbox One X too is that even though you spend all the extra money on this console as opposed to a baseline PlayStation or Xbox, you don't really know for sure what games will actually support it, and if they do support it, what it'll do. Like, there's no base expectation for them. They won't say, hey, if you get this, these games will run at 4K resolution at 30 frames per second. And they don't say, hey, 1080p games will run at 60 frames per second. It's kind of a crapshoot, and it's not something that I like.
you know what I hope they don't do, though? I hope they don't go like, hey, you bought X game for your Xbox One. We know you barely ran 1080p resolution at any kind of reasonable quality. I would hate for them to come out and say, oh my God, we've remastered it for HD, which is they've gone in and they've said recompiled to run at 4K with, I mean, I hope they don't like sell that to you. That should just be a given. Like if you have an older game, it should simply run at the higher res, right? With the
Yeah,
better
that's what
texture.
they're doing. They're doing that. Sorry, Brad, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Oh, you, I was going to say the same thing.
Oh yeah, they actually have a list out online about the games that are getting updates. So, and it's included
Oh, really?
if you own it. Yeah.
So, if we have this 480 here, and I say substitute it for the brand new GTX 1070 Ti card, if it fit in this case,
Case.
and I was playing on a PC, how do I get the new content to run on that faster card, Brad or Elena?
I'm not answering this because this is very obviously a setup.
Because I'm just trying to.
Move the graphics resolution up in the options menu.
I don't have to buy a new one or wait for somebody to add it to a list to say remaster it for a higher resolution. It's just kind of like. So on the PC,
You're
if
not
you
going to
play.
do that with the Xbox and PlayStation either. They're releasing updates for the existing games.
But I believe Gordon's point is that you have to wait for those updates.
But on the PC, you do too. I mean, or would you just go into the control panel and set it for 4K or?
I mean, sometimes it's
120
buggy.
hertz?
I mean, if you have a wide aspect ratio, you know what I mean. There's definitely things that aren't always there.
Yeah, I guess if you're trying to play, DOSBox games like Command and Conquer or something, but
Still waiting on Nier Automata update, and that came out.
Oh man, I love that game. Side note, Kyle, just so you know, we're using a 480, a reference 480, just so we can post, and then
Yes,
for the
not-
testing, the 580,
not for the actual
we'll go back in.
benchmarks.
Also, just in case nobody knows, I'm Adam. Hi, I'm the producer here. I'll answer your questions.
So what are you
Or
getting
ask
at?
you
Wires
questions
here
for you.
are this. I'm plugging in the system fan into the motherboard, but I'm not really a big fan of how the cabling is right here.
yeah, I personally my feeling is this is a cheap build, cheap wiring. Don't worry about it. Just like what?
Just give me a Medusa's nest.
What do you expect? Like a voodoo class level of wiring in a
No, but
$400
you see how there's a
PC?
hole right here? I might zip tie this or something just so it's not quite so.
Don't worry, it's
I would
already
wait till
way.
I'm not going to actually zip tie it because I have to move this between cases anyway.
Don't
but-
worry, it's already way prettier than Gordon's Threadripper build. So,
Hey, actually, yeah, let's break that out. It's all wired up nicely. I've got that new 12 core I got to drop in.
yeah. Where's that?
Yeah, we're the benchmarks, man.
Yeah.
Too many other things being benchmarked.
So let me ask you guys a question. 580 or the Xbox One X, PlayStation 4 Pro, they could basically hit, let's say, 4K 30, right? Or they could do 1080p 60 frames per second. Which one of those would you prefer?
Gosh.
Like if you're playing a game at home, what do you go for, resolution or frame rate?
On a TV or on a monitor?
I was thinking a monitor, but we can go TV, whatever you want. Just chatting.
I would say, I'd probably go for 1080 60 as a PC gamer, but at the same time, TVs are just so such bad gaming interfaces, I don't know if it really matters. I think you could probably play 4K 30. Is it 30 or 24? 4K 30, and you probably would not be able to tell. You know, they've probably compensated for just how crappy televisions are for latency and I would think. So wait, so you're plugging? What are you plugging in now?
Front USB.
You know, even on, so I have a 4K monitor at home, you know, and I'm running a 1070. I still try to get as much resolution as I can. I'm okay if, you know, I'll hit like 40 frames a second. You know, it doesn't bug me. I don't need the highest frame rate.
Are you on
I'll still
G-Sync?
try to, no, I'll still try to get a good resolution out of it above frame rate.
Really?
Yeah.
So I value frame rate over resolution.
I mean, it depends the game. If I'm playing a competitive shooter, you know, then I would want higher frame rate. But I mean, if I'm playing a really pretty game, like I've been playing Hellblade lately, and oh man, that thing's just beautiful. And it runs 4K on my 1070 really well, but I mean, not 60 frames. It's probably somewhere around 30 or 40.
Let's get the front audio because I'm not keeping.
But you know, for that game, because it's so beautiful.
I have a 4K monitor too, and I will shift down to 1440p to get it up to 60 frames if need be.
Yeah.
But something that's cool about the Xbox One X and this build is that they both support AMD's FreeSync technology.
Boom.
So that if you have a FreeSync monitor, you can get the best of both worlds: tearing free, setup free.
Huh.
And
So
they
they-
actually, I think it was on Twitter today, someone from Xbox said that the Xbox One X will also support 1440p monitors.
What?
So
How are they?
blend the lines there.
How are they doing this though? Is it? Do they have DisplayPort on Xbox?
No,
They don't have DisplayPort, they don't have-
over HDMI now.
HDMI.
They have FreeSync over HDMI.
Yeah, but so you would then have you'd have to have an HDMI, a current, like a brand new HDMI 2.0 monitor then, right?
FreeSync,
Yeah.
FreeSync monitor.
But if you
Yeah.
had an older one that was DisplayPort, because FreeSync 1 was all DisplayPort, right? Just like G-Sync, and then they did come out with the HDMI.
I'm
I think it
pretty
was.
sure that if a card supports FreeSync, it supports FreeSync. It doesn't matter about the card; it's the monitor that you have to worry
Right, but I'm
about.
just thinking that most of the monitors themselves, though, it wasn't until they rolled it into HDMI, which came out early this year, right? So, like, if a lot of the older generation FreeSync panels are not going to work over DisplayPort
No.
with it, because you're not
No.
going to be able to.
So the chat, it seems to be about a maybe 60-40 split on people want higher frame rates. Would choose the 1080-60.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I would
I'm
do
actually, yeah, nice.
I'd let the TV handle the upsampling then, right? I mean, that's just.
Yeah. Well, and depend on if
Should
you
I
got a
help
good
here? I should
TV.
help Elena.
Okay, Gordon, I'm sorry.
I am just
this
like-
is not going to happen. So Gordon hates modular PSUs. He hates modular power supplies, and so he's plugged in every single cable. But this case is too small. Case is just too damn small. So
gosh.
we're not going to be able to fit all these.
Just think
cables in there.
if you had the cables come out like they used to without the modular, this wouldn't be a problem.
Oh
Talking
God.
about it
It
would
would just come out here. It would just come out the one
and
damn
then,
hole.
and the one damn hole is going to smash up against the cage even worse.
Well, it'd be up top. Usually it's up top.
Even still, look at the case. There's no.
It'll clear. This thing that damn small, it'll clear.
Also, there's some people in chat saying that
I say go for it.
No, I gotta plug my stuff back in then. All right, what are you saying, Adam?
there's some people in chat saying that us PC gamers just we're just showing that we don't know anything about console gaming. You know,
I don't know anything about it. I want to understand. I'm in the interest of interstellar diplomacy. I want to know what the appeal is. I mean,
Yes, but you sound like someone from 1950s Britain visiting the Amazon for the first time.
or Star Trek. And you beam down to that planet where they're all dressed up like.
Well, you're gonna
Ancient Rome?
You're gonna point the fan down.
Can you take the cage
Yeah,
out?
I mean, because then you're gonna.
I guess it doesn't matter. We're not
doesn't
really
really
using
matter.
this case.
Also, can you take the cage out?
I don't think we need to. We'll just ride it past it.
Okay.
It won't be pretty, but it'll work.
Plus, that's where the spinning drive is.
Brad, earlier somebody asked you to talk about Volta. Any new tips?
Yeah.
Volta. If Vega performed how people were expecting it to perform, it'd probably be out right now. Volta is NVIDIA's next-gen graphics card architecture.
Oh, sorry.
And at this point, who knows when we're going to see it? Probably early to mid-next year sometime. So, I'm not a fan of waiting for next-gen parts in general for PCs. If you need something now, just get it now. There's always something better right around the corner. So.
Well, and speaking of now, your 1070 Ti review went up today. Really, really good.
It did.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk more about that on the full nerd tomorrow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
So be sure to turn into that.
A lot of PC news.
Terry is asking, are you guys factoring in labor costs into your build?
No, I don't think so. We get paid a flat fee. They're paying us in beer.
So it's another way that the Xbox is just superior. You know?
So because it's. Well, I mean, really, is the chat really? Are they really saying the Xbox is superior?
We've got some console lovers in here, but yeah, everyone's saying that hey, if you want it convenient, if you want it cheap, and if you want to have not worry about stuff, then Xbox One X is the way to go.
Up too much 'cause I'm thinking about
That's
that.
always been the selling point for consoles, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's convenience.
Yep.
And this is still the same deal. It's not going to be as powerful or as versatile as something you do yourself. You can't do your taxes on your Xbox One X.
Well, what?
You can't do your
Big old
taxes.
pet update.
Yeah, and I was going to point that out. People, I mean, there is no such thing, I believe, as a 100% gamer. Like, even my kids who play PC games, they do their homework in Google Docs on their PC.
Oh, so light now.
I've never sat down at an Xbox to fire up Google Docs or Excel or Photoshop. So,
Although, I do have to tell you an anecdote. So, once upon a time, when I used to work for Official Xbox Magazine, no joke, we would get letters from people telling us that they would actually use Internet Explorer, I think it was Internet Explorer on their Xbox 360 to watch porn.
why would they tell you that?
I don't know. I'm actually not entirely sure, but I'm not kidding when I'm not making this up.
Actually, it's funny. I like to go to my the statistics on my personal website, and there's always like a couple hits a month from either a PlayStation web browser or even a Wii web browser. I've got a couple times, and I'm like, who the hell is browsing the web, let alone my personal site on
Right?
on a console?
So weird.
It's crazy to me, but
I don't.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You can go ahead.
I mean, maybe we can just agree. I believe there is truly a social aspect with game consoles. You're going to sit around with your buddies, your gal buddies, drinking beer, playing a football, playing Madden, whatever. That's a great experience. That is a real strength of console games. Fighting games are a strength of console games. But, I mean, I think even... I want to ask the chat because there's clearly more console fans there, and clearly a lot of you folks are console people. But can't we agree PC gaming is superior in graphics quality and generally the multiplayer aspect of, hey, I can play Battlefield 4 on a 64-player server,
well,
And that's better, isn't it?
I think
For no cost.
You gotta go.
I think we can.
Then I gotta go this way according to the manual, but that's
Really?
weird because it puts. I think I put these on backwards then. No, that's not spaced correctly. All right, let me figure this out. Give me a second. Sorry, Dan. You don't have to move just yet.
I say let's just you put it in there. We're gonna see if it works. There we go.
Also, for the
connectors
people
are
that
on
are
this
asking,
side
we're going to
Yeah,
do the
that's fine.
full nerd tomorrow at
You read it in the back.
10:30 a.m. Pacific time.
Layout.
We're going to talk about all
Then
the
you
fun
can
hot
wire it
topics. Coffee Lake 1070 Ti.
Coffee Lake 1070 Ti. Yeah.
So
Sorry, Dan.
10:30 a.m. Pacific time tomorrow. If you want to know, for the full nerd. Also, we had a random person asking about the PC World show.
No, I'm just
I'll say that,
figure out the wiring.
Yeah, timing and scheduling just didn't end up working out that we continued it. But we have some ideas to bring it back. But for now, the Full Nerd is PC World's flagship podcast talking about PC hardware. So tune in. But yes, everyone in the chat, Gordon, can agree that the PC is superior. But you have to pay the price.
You do.
Yes, but at the same time, that price includes ability to run Office, Google Docs, a browser, all kinds of other things. So what is the value of you being able to buy, to be able to actually do work on a,
Does the Xbox have Edge built in?
Yes.
yeah,
But here's the thing, Gordon.
can you run a keyboard?
But here's the
Yeah,
thing.
but then you're using Edge.
Yeah, that's like, I would pay not to use it.
So here's the thing, Gordon. You could still buy a console for even the Xbox One X at $500, and then buy a laptop, which these days aren't that expensive, relatively speaking, for another, say, like $600. And you have your gaming experience, you have your
Whoa, whoa,
computing experience,
whoa.
and you don't have to do a lot of work.
Let me but let's,
I'm just saying there is a use case for that.
yeah, the use case is
And
how
on
much for the
TV.
laptop?
And on
$600?
TV. There's a lot of people who like to game on
Whoa,
the
whoa,
TV.
whoa.
You can even get the $350 special that we saw, the one with the full HD screen, Core i3 processor.
But wait,
It'll
wait.
do your taxes.
Let's talk about this now. So you're talking about a $600 laptop? Or how much for the game console?
Let's
Which
just say
one?
Xbox One X, $500.
500.
Well, no, Xbox One X. Is that the new one?
That's the new one.
So that's $500. That's $500. Now, what size? Let me understand. What size television does that Xbox One come with?
Let's say that you
great.
have a 70-inch screen.
Wait, it comes with that?
Comes with it.
What television comes with the Xbox One X?
What PC comes with a
Yeah,
monitor,
but what
Gordon?
PC
Wait,
comes with-
whoa.
He's talking about laptops.
I have the floor. I have not yielded the floor. So,
The beer is catching up to Gordon.
look,
He's
Xbox One X
only halfway done.
is $500. It does not come with the television, right? So you have to buy a television for it?
You don't have to. Most
Hey,
people already
Well, what are you
have
going to do? Play it on what?
Dan, zoom in
Brain?
on the PBR for a second. Just see how far he's in. It's only
No,
half.
but really seriously, think about this now. Whoa, look, I've got a point. Here's my point. Now, you're going to understand this. Look, Xbox One X, $500. Say you have a television, which you have to buy, say, $600 for a television, right? Not all of that is just for the Xbox. Let's say half, so $300. So your $500 is now $800. Now, we're going to add the cost of a laptop for $500. What is that, $1,300
Let's
bucks?
go. We can even go with a $350 Acer special.
That's a horrible experience. Or on a hard drive.
The core. You can replace the hard drive.
Well, that's adding a cost to it. But anyway, no matter what, we can all agree we're
Still
at.
at $450.
We're about
You have an SSD.
$1,000 to $1,200, right? I got that right?
No, I'm not good at math, so I
Right. So
can't
that's
agree to that.
Say 1,200. How much was that Dell laptop you sent me this morning? That link.
$750 after rebate.
What was inside of that Dell laptop?
I think it was. That's not the Max Q 1060,
So a 1060 class graphics card.
but that's Max Q 1060.
So
Xbox
10
One X
1050.
has it. Xbox One X.
But
is-
And-
how much did that laptop cost?
And not to mention it comes pre-installed with a bunch of bloatware.
Well, no, but how much was that 1060 laptop that could play games at 1080?
$750? I mean,
Was it $750?
Was it?
Now,
after rebate.
I'm just a caveman and I don't know math.
that's horrible.
But
that's horrible.
$1,100 is more than $700.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Also,
You're a caveman,
but the
you don't know that.
$1,100 is far superior to the $750.
In what way? 1060 Max Q versus a 580? I don't know.
580 plus is
I
what
don't
they call
know.
it.
I don't know.
Brad, help us.
But I have saved.
The non-Max Q would be toe-to-toe with the 580.
Right.
But that Max Q makes a difference.
But Brad, I say $400. What can I buy for $400?
Also, is that screen 1080p?
I'm sure it is.
So you can't even play 4K on it anyway. So you're talking about a 4K TV.
DSR, whatever. These days you can upsample screen size and have it come back down, and to your screen resolution, it's a much more.
I'm just saying you can get a full-on gaming laptop with an extremely decent gaming experience, 1060 Max Q, for $750, and that's with the screen, with speakers, with the keyboard. You got to buy a mouse, but. And that's with a machine that does Office
and a headset
versus
versus the TV you just bought. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's
size
not
of
completely
screen,
apples
the
to
resolution.
Oh, I see. So
HDR.
the cost argument doesn't matter suddenly.
Hey, HDR.
So wait, suddenly when the PC's winning, the cost does not matter then?
The cost always matters. The cost always
So then
matters.
the cheaper one is better,
lost me
right?
when you started doing math, man. That's not.
Cheaper is cheaper.
The PC is never cheaper.
I just showed you 1060 Max Q laptop, Office capability, Photoshop, all that in a laptop for $750.
But that's not an equivalent.
Yeah, but it's
not?
not equivalent.
It's not
We're
equivalent.
talking about a 4K console on a 4K TV.
Whoa, wait, but oh my God, what you're saying?
Here's the thing: 4K TVs. At the average sitting distance from your couch, you can't really see the difference, and it's a waste of money.
But let me ask you this.
Monitors make a big difference.
So if I spent the extra, say, $300 to get up to $1,000, or the extra $500 to get to $1,200,
Yeah.
I'm now up to a full 1060 part easily, right? 1060, maybe even a 1070. 1070 Max Q, really?
So hard right now, dude.
What? I'm not reaching. That is exactly. Look, you're gonna take a 1070 experience over versus an Xbox One X. Come on, that's just not.
Even the chat's saying you're reaching, Gordon.
That is not reaching. That is. I mean, I'm just using the math that people use. You're all talking about cost. No, they don't let me go in the store anymore. Said I was annoying customers. Give me a pack of cigarettes.
But everyone is loving the old ranting Gordon, the old drunk ranting
You can
Gordon.
see it, just the person sitting there in front of the liquor store as you go in. You know, fairly harmless, but, you know, talking about crazy. But no, seriously, PC gaming is not as expensive as you think it is, especially when you factor in the ability to do real work. There's a tangible cost of that a lot of console gamers don't give to the PC.
But
you still have to have a PC.
That's the thing.
Console.
Hey, let's talk about a very generic PC gamer or console gamer, Luis, who we know, right? He doesn't want his gaming machine to do all the other stuff. If you asked him like, "Hey, would you rather buy this gaming machine or this PC that'll do all this other stuff?" He's going to be like, "I have a PC at work if I want to do that stuff. I don't when I go home, I just want to play games." So when you're talking about just for games, there's plenty of people who want just a gaming machine.
If you had to choose one device to take to college with you, you can take your Xbox One X or a gaming laptop.
Actually, there's plenty of people who would take their Xbox One.
No, everyone needs.
Oh, hell no.
No. I've lived in dorms.
Those people could
gather
do that,
around,
Adam, but they would
drink.
flunk out in the first year because they would go like, "Where's your paper?"
Because they'll be
Mr. Murray?"
drinking. They're going to have
Well,
all the
I'm
fans.
still
Computer
typing
labs.
it on my.
There are computer labs.
Yeah, I use computer labs all the time.
Some
I didn't have a
people
laptop,
actually do stuff on a tablet. Shocker.
but I had a
Oh, how much does
PS2
the
and no
tablet
laptop.
cost, Lena?
I'm just saying, those kids that are
Here's
going
a-
to college these days, they are not the same college kids that I went to school
They
with.
have to buy that tablet.
They could have a Chromebook.
Oh, is you put the?
There we go, Chromebook.
No, what? I gotta go. I gotta say, why the optical drive?
Because the Xbox One X has an optical drive.
But it has a,
And, okay, so here's the
Blu-ray
thing.
drive.
Here's the thing.
4K Blu-ray.
This is a standard Blu-ray drive. This is not a 4K Blu-ray
HDR?
drive. Because that has HDR support. Because if I chose that, it would inflate the cost of this build by almost double.
Right.
It's pretty. The state of 4K Blu-ray support on the PC side of things is not so great right now.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Well, that's because everybody streams, right? It's digital videos, right?
True. Well,
What do you talk about HDR?
Also, sorry, Gordon, you're not getting a lot of backup in the chat. Just to
Do you
loop
think
back
that
around.
drunk old guy in front of the liquor store is always looking for backup? He just wants you to say, just nod your head when he says, "Am I right? Am I right?" And you go, "Yes," so that he doesn't like shank you. That's why.
So Gordon's gonna start shanking.
No, I'm just saying, the old guy in front of the liquor store, you just, I gotta go in here and get my Cheetos, Grandpa. So I gotta.
Anyway,
HDR, the drive is a interesting situation. I think that's really a thing where the Xbox has advantage with the 4K HDR drive.
Yeah, I will say that. I will give that to the
Not much on
Xbox.
PCs, but it's real hard to find a HDR monitor. Anyway, you'd have to hook it up to a TV.
I'm not doing so well with this.
also, so I'm going to loop back around to it because I promised I would. This was a while ago, and I am having a hard time finding it. Cyrus was asking about HDR. Let me try to find. Oh, he says, can we discuss HDR and its viability as a selling point? So, do people even care about HDR? Gordon? Brad?
For PC gaming,
For either.
Got ahead of myself.
I think HDR does look spectacular. I gotta say, I've seen HDR panels that have not been released in a year and a half, and it looks spectacular. And HDR televisions it's a really, really nice upgrade. I mean, 4K was like, the curved screen gimmick. But
Curved
I gotta
screen
say,
gimmick, 3D
HDR
gimmick.
screens, a really good HDR television will really just like rock your world. So I think it's
To me,
good.
to me, HDR is so much better looking than 4K. Like, I think HDR is a way bigger visual difference than moving from 1080p to 4K.
HDR is
Like,
big.
it's that awesome looking to me.
Unless it's a big 4K panel. Oh, power and
Brad, have you seen any HDR monitors since last CES when we got that demo?
There have been
did forget the
some
second SATA.
HDR monitors that have come out, typically high end, but we've seen a couple of FreeSync 2 HDR monitors from Samsung come out.
Oh, nice.
There's some G-Sync HDR monitors that were supposed to come out this year, but they were delayed till next year. So it's been a little slower picking up than we were hoping, but there are some HDR monitors out there now.
One of the things I will add about the HDR, I'll switch over to me for a little break. Hi, guys. I'm probably about, I only got a little bit of beer left. HDR, there is a little bit of setup, a little bit of like, oh man, I gotta turn some junk on my TV. Like there's a little bit of a curve to set up HDR and make sure it's running properly. So I don't think it's fully just, hey, just plug it in and it works great. But yeah, it's definitely a big deal. I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, but you're a video snob. A lot of people just plug it in out there, the box, and they're like, well, this is cool, even though it's not the best.
Well, not even that though. I mean, there's some. There's been times where we've tried to do some video here with HDR related stuff that I can't mention. When we plugged into the TV, we had to be like, oh, where's the setting on the TV to make sure HDR is working right. There's definitely we've run into some problems, but yeah, no, it's great. I can't wait for it to come to monitors in a way that is mainstream because I will totally get that.
And these graphics cards do indeed support HDR, by the way, so
Right.
it matches it on that front.
Over HDMI as well, or
2.0, whatever, 2.1A, I can't keep track, but you should.
okay, as long as it's the latest standard.
All right. I
So
think
yeah,
we're built.
Really?
Yeah.
All built?
Yeah, it
all
went
in,
out
man.
faster if we
We
were
were
trying.
just sitting here ranting with Gordon, and we missed the build. Somebody did mention that Elena's just sitting there doing all the work while Gordon's again just ranting.
Yeah, like that old person sitting in front of the liquor store. He ain't working either.
He's working hard on the beer.
But he adds to the atmosphere of the liquor store.
Yes, I
That's
mean,
worth it.
you don't know, but that person's actually paid to sit in front of that liquor store.
All right, I'm saving my cider for a celebratory drink. if I
Yeah,
manage to
celebratory.
post.
Well, let's not celebrate too quick.
That's what I
Whoa.
mean.
We got to post.
Whoa,
I gotta post first.
This is a FreeSync panel.
Yeah, baby. We want DisplayPort? Yeah.
It doesn't really matter, just for posting.
Okay, well.
One thing I will say is that definitely if you are building something like this and you are a PC gamer and that's all you are at heart, you don't need a Blu-ray drive. So you can shave that off the cost of the build.
Yeah. I think it's
These
interesting.
wires.
The CPU, we never really talked about it. Even though Ryzen only has 4 cores as opposed to Xbox One X having 8, they're the new Ryzen cores. They're cutting edge. They're very, very good performing cores, whereas the Xbox
Where's
One
the,
X still uses the age-old AMD Jaguar cores.
Damn.
So it'll really
Yeah.
take a performance hit in games that use, like, open world games need CPU power, and that's the reason why they kind of lag a little bit on consoles, and that's not going to change with this.
Yeah, but it's 8 core. It's 8 cores. More
Like
cores.
12 gigs versus 8 gigs.
You know, I have to say that was to me that was the most surprising thing about the specs when they announced the Xbox One X, that they hadn't done any upgrades to the CPU. I was just like, dude, that chip is old.
Yeah, especially with so many games these
here, let
days,
me-
though, in open world, like Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, etc., GTA 5. I mean, and those are the ones that need CPU power.
There we go. We're good.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Here's the moment of truth.
Moment of truth.
We're
How
we're
do
on
I
the
do?
camera.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Did you get the leads right?
Oh God, the pressure.
The pressure, the pressure. Oh,
Fan spinning.
fan
That's a
spinning.
good sign.
Do we see lights on the motherboard? Is
I
I don't
don't
think
I don't
it
think
has
it's like-
no lights.
Okay, no lights.
Is the monitor on?
Monitor
Yeah.
is on.
Oh no.
Are we on DisplayPort?
We are maybe.
My moment of triumph. Possibly.
Evacuate in a moment of triumph? I think you overestimate their chances.
Oh, here we go.
HDMI.
Wait, I don't even know how to switch.
There's a joystick.
Oh, you're right.
Push in
I
and then
man, I
go
tell
down.
you what, I hate this monitor.
What?
It's so.
Come on.
It's such a. I got
Joysticks are way better than pushing buttons.
How many PC World staffers does it take?
To turn on the
I
monitor
know, right?
and switch to the input.
Ah, it was up. Why is it not showing up?
It's not on.
No, it's on.
Do you have power?
Adam did something.
I didn't do it. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, you
Wait.
turned it off.
Yeah, you turned off.
Oh, I know.
You're pushing
I
the
just, I'm hitting the input button. I'm hitting the input button.
Well, the fans are still spinning. I suspect we're already in the BIOS already.
Why is that input button not working?
Would you like me to do this?
No. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, you know, if this was on a TV, it'd already be working.
Oh snap.
See?
There it is.
I
Wait.
posted.
Woohoo!
Woo!
Yay!
All right, celebratory drink.
High five. Nice.
Adam was trying to
Nice.
sabotage it.
Nice.
Wi-Fi.
Sweet.
So, only,
Oh man. What? Oh yeah. Look at that. Hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would have
I'll
been
take
much
that.
faster.
Even
if
with
we
all
had
the
been
jawing.
chatting.
That was great. That was nice. You like the cider?
It's not bad. It's not too sweet, which I like.
You've got a lot more. You've got a lot more.
let's see
to
if you got
go.
the reset button. right.
Oh my god, that's such a big
You got a
bottle,
lot more
especially
to
for
Bring
me.
it to the staffing later.
It's warm now, though. Let's put it back in the fridge.
What are you gonna try to do?
I was just gonna.
Yeah, are there any more questions or
Yeah,
comments in the
let's
chat
go back
before
over
we
to the chat.
peace out?
It was fun being over with the
This
big
is super
kids.
great. I loved all the great comments. Thanks
Yeah.
for showing up, everybody.
Oh man! All right,
Nice
let's
to have company.
just catching up
Say
on the
I-
chat. There's somebody saying Gordon's drunk.
Is it? You got in BIOS. Is it
I
worth
hope
really?
it's not John.
Oh,
saying
there's somebody
that.
saying California Kid says this is a reverse Xbox promotion. We're just proving to people that they should buy an Xbox.
Please.
I mean, you can't. Honestly, though, you can see it that way. at the moment.
Why?
Because if you are not all about the power of the PC, if you're not about the multitasking that you were talking about, and you are solely looking for a gaming machine that's going to give you the most bang for your buck in terms of power, that doesn't require you to lift a single finger or have to worry about anything, Xbox One X looks pretty good for what you're getting from it, because you get that Blu-ray
Yeah.
drive, you get the game performance, and you don't have to worry about Windows 10 updates and making sure your drivers are compatible or up to date or for the newest game, that kind of stuff.
Brad, how old is your kid?
Oh God.
My oldest one is 14, I hope. Hope she doesn't see this video. I think that's right.
And then you will understand this as well. Go to your daughter's school
Dan, you're good.
and do a survey of the kids and what is the hot gaming scene. And it will be 99 out of 100 PC gaming.
Nope.
Desktop
Nintendo Switch.
PC gaming. Oh, hell no. Look, let me tell you. I
Nintendo
have-
Your kids do it at
Switch.
school.
It's all about PC gaming. Public school, private school, homeschool. It's about PC gaming. Believe me.
Homeschool?
He just said
Even the
homeschool.
homeschool kids about PC gaming. The only ones that are buying consoles now are, older professionals that really don't have time
They're
to.
professional.
Older
They go home, they
professionals.
smoke a doobie, they play some games
Smoke
for
a
about half an
doobie?
hour, and that's it.
All right, we gotta cut
I
him
mean,
off.
take kids. No,
gotta cut 'em
wait.
off.
Kids do not want consoles. I will tell you that.
You tell that
It
to
is not
every-
about.
You tell that to every kid who has a Nintendo 3DS.
Smoking a
Look, I didn't
doobie.
say
They're smoking doobies.
developing nations. That's a different thing. But I'm saying is the hot scene with kids today, all teenagers, boys, girls, 5th grade, 4th grade, 3rd grade, 5th grade, 6th
Everyone
grade.
says go home, Gordon. You're drunk.
All about PC gaming.
So Elena,
And I'm not making that up. It's true. It is absolutely true. I can tell you from experience.
let's clarify. We're not going to install anything here. We
We're
just
not.
made sure
So
we post.
the
And the
point of
next
our
steps
live-
are.
Yeah, so the point of our live builds is just to actually build a system with y'all watching us. And then we get to the point of posting it just to make sure that what we did actually works. In this case, it works. I am going to be switching out that video card back for the 580 in a
And
different
this.
case. Because the 580 just didn't fit in this case if you weren't tuned in at that point in time. My next steps are going to be benchmarking this system. I'm going to do a couple of CPU-based benchmarks, but primarily focused on gaming benchmarks just to see how it does, just to see what it's able to put out at 4K, and then also at 1080, maybe 1440. And I'll have those results up. My goal is to have the results up in our written article Tuesday morning, which is the same day as the Xbox One X launches. So
Perfect.
you'll have all that news at the same time
Nice.
When does the Xbox One launch?
on Tuesday, the 7th.
Oh.
Nice.
Well, let's put it this way. It's on the 7th, which I believe is a Tuesday.
And also, what's the final cost that we're sitting at right now?
For this particular build, it's about, the one in the written article that I have is $693 at that time, which was like October 26th, because prices constantly fluctuate. This one, I think, is more like $700, $705.
All right.
How much is the optical drive in this? How much is the Blu-ray optical drive these days?
The one we have in here is not the one I listed in my part list.
50, 60, well,
The
50.
one that I have, the LG one that I have in the part list is $50. That's for
You can get rid of
standard.
that real
That's
quick. You can save that money.
That's for standard Blu-ray. If you want to buy the Pioneer 4K Blu-ray UHD
Or-
drive, that one it came down in price by $10 to a cheap $118.
Right, and it will not work. It will not work with the setup. You really need.
No, you have to have an Intel processor that supports SGX,
Yeah.
Hey, you know what?
and then a motherboard that also supports that same security feature.
Man, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Family show.
I have a great video idea. Maybe we'll set up a blind test between an Xbox One X and this build, and see if Gordon can tell the difference.
What game? Battlefield 4
Any of them, sure.
on a
whatever.
64-player server? Sure.
So yeah, we'll have some fun with it. But yeah, why don't you take us out, and then we can go. Gordon, we can put Gordon to bed for the rest of the
Gordon to
day.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Be sure to check back tomorrow if you want to see us talk more about PC news and everything PC on the Full Nerd. Was it 10:30 a.m. Pacific?
Yep.
Otherwise, we will catch you guys for our next build.
Cool. Thanks, guys. See ya.
Bye.
Can you give me a pack of cigarettes?